and we'll talk about kind of more the formal side of things, but also the other things that you need to evaluate when you put your portfolios together. So the size is A4, an A4 format, and maximum kind of thickness of it is about 1 inch, so about 3.5 centimeters. And that's just so that it's easier for us to kind of evaluate the work, and it's also very well edited, so it's not too much to kind of go through. Then there's also a number of other points that I just want to bring up as well. And the first of that is that the work presented should reflect the applicant's authenticity, their originality, and also the individuality. So we want to see your personality come through in your portfolio. The second point that I also want to bring up is that the work presented should not necessarily be architecture and interior design projects only. So we want to see a wide kind of variety of design approaches. So also product design, design, a series of kind of design skills is also related to kind of other spatial things, even fashion design, anything that can show your skills as a designer. So not necessarily just architecture and interior design. The third one is that the drawing shouldn't be too conventional. It's a little bit different than what you would apply for if you apply to, for instance, the Thai architecture faculty. So we want to see a bit more kind of variety and creativity in the kind of drawings and the way they are drawn. The fourth one, I know I'm going kind of adding to these points a little bit, but I think it's just important to consider it in the kind of the wide range of things. Is that that there should be a diversity in the content. So whatever you put in, there should be a diversity within that as well. We want to see various mediums being used, different ways of drawing, painting, photography, even kind of model building to kind of really explain how you're kind of thinking through the processes. It's also important that through that process that we can understand your research and the investigation. So, you made this decision, that didn't work, and then you did this, and then this kind of was a better kind of iteration or a better development of what you've done before that. So then it's also important that we understand through that the maturity of your work. How well are you thinking as a designer? How well are you presenting your work as a designer? So the communication is then very, very important within that. So the kind of the seventh point, I suppose, I know it's a little different than that, is that we'll show you some examples of portfolios, and you need to evaluate whether your skills or the work that you've done up to now is of a similar quality to those portfolios we're going to show you. If it's not, then we would recommend that you do some additional skills or workshops or classes to develop certain skills to get it to that same level or to that same standard. So look at the work, evaluate your own work and work that you've been doing, and see how that kind of marries up with it. When you organize your portfolio, it's really, really important that we understand your thinking through that. The content needs to be clearly explained through it. And that's really just, it comes down to kind of communication, communicating your skills as a designer.
And the really last
yes. So the last few points then is, it needs to be by yourself, right? It's your work, it's your creative process. So don't let someone else do your portfolio for you. It's really important that it's your own work. So don't hire someone to do your work, and that goes throughout kind of the 4 years of study. The other point is don't include your achievements or certificates in the portfolio. The portfolio is simply to show your creative processes and your skills. There's a supplementary document that you can add as a CV, which is obviously not forming part of the portfolio itself. So those are kind of the do and don'ts, really.